You never seen it?
No.
He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this. Flushes.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
It's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? They would never do that. They would have water ready for him.
Does President Trump believe that President Obama should go to jail for something?
Look, the president believes that this matter needs to be thoroughly investigated, and anyone convicted of crime should be held accountable in this country. Go ahead.
And he was once praised as the gold standard of modern leadership. But Joe Rogan and Karoline Leavitt just swung hard and knocked him off that pedestal. Barack Obama's carefully crafted legacy didn't stand a chance as they pulled back the curtain and exposed the fluff, failures, and stage-managed politics. This isn't a quiet jab. It's a no-holds-barred takedown of everything the press never dared to question. And when the smoke fades, only the harsh truth stands, louder than any speech Obama ever gave.
Said that Michelle Obama was a man before she died.
Was that a joke? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too, but the way she said it wasn't like jokey. She was like, oh, come on, everybody knows Michelle Obama's the man.
Like,
remember that?
Yeah, like, would Big Mike kill you for that?
Well, I think
that President Trump never had anything to do with Russia. And the Russia collusion hoax was a massive fraud perpetuated on the American people from the very beginning. And the worst part of this is Obama knew that truth, and so did all of the other corrupt officials involved in this scam, including former CIA Director John Brennan, former Director of National Intelligence James
Barack Obama, the man who spent 8 years fine-tuning the art of seeming busy while doing little that mattered, has once again landed in the crosshairs of blunt common sense. This time, it's Joe Rogan and Karoline Leavitt delivering the blows, a duo that makes Obama's polished shell look even more ridiculous. If presidential performance were judged like a UFC match, Obama would have been dropped before round 2, but with media praise and a Nobel Prize handed to him for merely existing, he cruised through to terms like a well-rehearsed illusion.
Last few days, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has unveiled shocking new evidence that former President Barack Obama and top aides in the Obama administration conspired to subvert President Trump's 2016 election victory and undermine the democratic will of the American people.
If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and tap the bell icon. Joe Rogan didn't even need to scratch the surface. Obama's whole presidency feels like an overhyped Netflix special, flashy, hollow, and loved mostly by people who think change means updating their resume font. The same man who promised to be the most transparent president made duct tape look like glass. From the Fast and Furious mess to the NSA spying scandal, his administration quietly turned yes we can into no. We won't tell you about Biden.
Give me some volume and go full screen.
What you know now, do you wish you had a third term? You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats, looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country. Yeah. We used to think he was actually running the country, and now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all auto.
Karoline Leavitt, with her sharp Gen Z instincts, didn't need 10 years of media worship to see through the cracks. While old-school networks were still swooning over his perfect crease and that slow-motion stroll across the white house lawn, she was already pulling apart the layers of what turned out to be a masterclass in showbiz politics. Under Obama, America looked like a flashy Instagram influencer. All filters, it's no depth.
While this case is being appealed?
We don't have any flights planned specifically, but we will continue with the mass deportations. And I would just like to point out that the judge in this case is essentially trying to say that the president doesn't have the executive authority to deport foreign terrorists from our American soil. That is an egregious abuse of the bench. This judge does not have that authority. It is the opinion of this White House and of this administration, and that's why we're fighting this in court. And it's very, very clear that this is an activist judge who is trying to usurp the president's authority. Under the Alien Enemies Act, the president has this power, and that's why this deportation campaign has continued. And this judge, Judge Boasberg, is a Democrat activist. He was appointed by Barack Obama. His wife has donated more than $10,000 to Democrats, and he has consistently shown his disdain for this president and his policies.
Let's not pretend Obama's economic record was some masterstroke. He took office with the economy in a hole and left it limping like it was. On crutches. He pinned every failure on George Bush while bragging about every job at McDonald's opened. The recovery dragged on so slowly it could have used subtitles. The only real surge during his time was the national debt and maybe Joe Biden's growing list of awkward remarks.
Because things are actually happening. Very different than most of the time when people get elected.
And I will shut down the federal Department of Education and we will move everything back to the state.
Most of the time when people get elected, they claim all these things when they're running for president. Then they get into office and not much changes.
Individualize education and do it with the love for their children.
And in fact, a lot of what they campaigned on, they don't practice at all. Great example is the Obama administration. The Hope and Change website had to be changed because there was a bunch of stuff in there about whistleblowers.
No, I don't think Mr. Snowden was a patriot. I called for a thorough review of our surveillance operations before Mr. Snowden made these leaks. My preference would have been for a lawful, orderly examination of these laws.
Protecting whistleblowers, which they didn't do at all. It was one of the worst.
Rogan called out what many already saw. Obama was the kind of leader who could dress up a disaster in poetry and never actually fix it. He could order a drone strike on a village and then win an Emmy for narrating the film about it. His foreign policy looked more like a guide on what not to do. Libya burned, Syria collapsed, and that so-called red line. It was more like a faded doodle on a bar napkin. And the drone strikes under Obama. Drones flew more missions than Delta, while he gave polished speeches about peace. He was running real-life Call of Duty behind the curtain. Entire wedding parties were wiped out, and the media barely blinked. He turned race into a political tool, quietly dividing the country with every speech. Every crisis became a lecture, every tragedy a photo op. In 8 years, he made division trendy, all while grinning like he fixed the world with a Spotify playlist.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
It's so interesting when you play people clips of Obama talking about the importance of securing the border.
I like to play those clips. They and sounds just like Trump.
Play the statistics of how many people they sent back and telling people to not come over with their children, that they'll be separated from their children. It's one of those things where people like don't like that. They don't like to see that. It really is deeply disturbing to them that Obama campaigned on this idea of protecting our border.
Because we all used to agree on it.
Yeah,
you know,
but it became a racial issue with Trump.
And under Obama, the IRS didn't just audit, it went hunting. Tea Party groups were treated like criminals, while real foreign threats got handled like confused tourists. Benghazi became a government ghost story, with Hillary at the center and Obama acting like it was just a bad Yelp review. Accountability during his years was as hard to find as Joe Biden's train of thought. Rogan tore into that legacy like a surgeon with unfinished business. The Obamacare launch was such a mess it looked like it was built by teens on dial-up. Keep your doctor was tossed around like cheap slogans, and the website crashed harder than Hunter Biden's laptop. Obama could have sneezed on a kitten, and CNN would have called it historic. The press didn't report, they clinging to every pause, drooling over playlists, and treating his jump shots like war tactics. All while real reporters were wiretapped, and whistleblowers were cast as villains in a bad superhero spin-off.
By partisan activists in the judicial branch have come against President Donald Trump, and 92% of those have been from Democrat-appointed judges. This is a clear, concerted effort by leftists who don't like this president and are trying to impose or slow down his agenda.
So Karoline Leavitt tore apart the cult-like obsession that surrounded him. Obama wasn't so much a president as he was. A sleek brand, complete with logos, merch, and fans who never asked questions. It was never about real policies. It was all about the vibes. The perfectly timed head tilt, the slow clap, the sweet-sounding speeches that meant nothing but felt like Shakespeare drizzled in syrup. While everyday Americans struggled with job loss and cultural chaos, Obama was busy throwing celeb-packed dinners and applauding himself for being charming. He turned the White House into a pop culture set. From talk show appearances to mood-setting playlists, his presidency felt more like a Netflix series minus the tension, heavy on the NPR. They praised a man who spoke like a savior but acted like a ghost with a government title, the kind of guy who preached unity while the nation cracked apart like an iPhone dropped from orbit.
And if you all recall, just flashback to 2016 and the years after, the entire Trump 1 presidency was embroiled in this scandal that was perpetuated by the Democrat Party. And you had major Democrat Party officials in this city, namely Adam Schiff, Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, who went on television and told the American people Donald Trump is an asset of Russia.
And let's not forget his cozy bromance with big tech. Under Obama, Silicon Valley ballooned into the overgrown giant it is today. Google and Facebook might as well have had seats in his cabinet. Data privacy? Forget it. His administration rolled out the red carpet for surveillance capitalism with a smile and a nod. The same crew that couldn't build a working healthcare site had no problem stockpiling metadata like it was gold. Karoline ripped into the double standards. For all the talk about safeguarding democracy, Obama oversaw some of the boldest power grabs in recent memory. Executive orders flew like candy at a parade. If Congress stalled, he steamrolled legal or not. Meanwhile, his inner circle cashed, and Wall Street swelled, and regular folks got lectures about sacrifice. He rescued the banks, let the housing crisis wreck families, then scolded Americans about being responsible. It was like getting robbed and being told to say thank you because the thief didn't smash the door in.
Obama, during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
I don't understand how we got so toxic, so divided, and so bitter.
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that.
Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did. I did, just as an intelligent person, a statesman. He's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You think you're going to do something, and then you get into office, and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump.
The childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
The thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist.
When he's not complaining, he's trying to sell you stuff. You're running for president and you're hawking merchandise. Gold sneakers, $100,000 watch. Why are you selling a watch? What are you doing?
Which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think people believe it anymore. We've gotten...
Joe Rogan didn't even need to stretch the truth. Obama was the type who could turn a national disaster into a photo op. Take Flint, Michigan. He showed up, took a stage sip of questionable water, flashed a grin, and disappeared like it was a magic trick. He could have penned a guide called How to Look Concerned without doing anything. Karoline called out the irony. The same man who promised to shut down Guantanamo Bay left office with it still running. It's that hope and change slogan aged. Worse than warm milk? It was always about optics over outcomes, gestures over action. And while the media wrote sonnets about his time in office, everyday Americans were left asking what actually improved besides his speaking fees. Then there's the whisper about a third term. Biden's presidency feels more like an Obama sequel than an original script. Rogan didn't hold back. Obama wasn't a leader or a trailblazer, just a smooth-talking frontman for the elite. Wrapped in a magazine cover, he didn't drain the swamp. He taught it how to pose for Instagram.
I'm sorry, did you take any comfort from knowing that Obama, when he was running for office and in his Hope and Change website, he had provisions to protect whistleblowers and provisions to reward people, right? I mean, do you remember all that? I mean, it was eventually redacted, or he eventually deleted it from the website.
But that disappeared it from the website.
Yes, but that was a big part of his program, or what he was running on, was that when people were exposing unlawful activity, he was going to protect those people. Did you take any comfort in that?
Obama also campaigned. Well, Obama also, during his campaign, said he campaigned actively against the warrantless wiretapping, the Bush.
Right. Even Joe Rogan made it crystal clear. Obama's presidency wasn't a movement. It was a polished illusion, a scripted performance. For the global elite, and like any illusion, the moment the applause stops, the spell breaks. Just when the Obama show seemed over, The post-presidency circus rolled in: Netflix contracts, best-selling book tours, and guest spots on podcasts crafted like PR campaigns. The same man who claimed to stand with the working class now charges speaking fees that eclipse most Americans' yearly income. His post-White House gloat wasn't about public service, it was self-promotion in 4K. While inflation climbed and culture unraveled under the weight of the woke chaos he helped unleash, Obama was busy uploading drone shots from Martha's Vineyard. The guy who once preached about inequality now owns a beachfront palace that would make Gatsby look modest. Seems like those rising sea levels knew better than to touch his lawn.
His estate.
Publicly pretending to engage in a peaceful transfer of power. In private, former President Obama went to great and nefarious lengths to try to sow discord among the public and sabotage his successor, President Trump. The new evidence released by the Director of National Intelligence, who is here with me today, confirms that the Obama administration manufactured politicized intelligence, which was later...
Meanwhile, the country stayed broken in ways he never even tried to mend. Racial tensions worsened. Political sides dug deeper. Trust in everything collapsed. But don't worry, Obama would toss out a tweet, slap on a hashtag, and move along like he'd just fixed the world. His crisis response never changed. Narrate it with smooth detachment, then vanish before things got uncomfortable. Joe Rogan didn't sugarcoat the gap. Obama turned leadership into a style act. His legacy, a masterclass in doing the bare minimum while looking like he was doing it all. Everyday Americans got flat paychecks and shrinking rights. Obama got praise from coastal elites and love from a global press obsessed with charm over results. And here's the twist. Democrats still roll out his memory like a comfort blanket, hoping his highlight reel can cover up their current mess. He promised change, but delivered. A lesson in staying still. His true gift was selling stagnation as forward motion.